I went out full, but the Lord brought me back empty. Once I was Naomi, pleasant, joyful, but now call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me. But that's not where my story ends, because even in my bitterness, God was already writing redemption. It began in the days when the judges ruled Israel, when sin was plenty and food was not. There was famine in Bethlehem, the house of bread. What irony. My husband, Elimelech, made a decision. We must go to Moab, he said, a foreign land, a place of idols. We went, hoping to survive. In Moab, life went on. Our sons, Mahlon and Chilion, took Moabite wives. I thought maybe our story was finding stability again. But then Elimelech died, and soon after, my 2 sons followed him to the grave. In 1 decade, everything I loved was buried in foreign soil. What do you do when you're surrounded by graves, and yet still have to keep living? Then I heard a whisper. The Lord has visited his people in Bethlehem. He's given them bread. Hope flickered again. I packed what little was left. My 2 daughters-in-law walked beside me, Orpah and Ruth. On the road I stopped. Tears filled my eyes as I turned to them. Go back, I said. Return to your mother's homes. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have with me. They wept. They clung to me. But I knew I had nothing left to offer them. I pressed again. Go, my daughters. I'm too old. Even if I had sons again, would you wait? Orpah kissed me goodbye, but Ruth would not let go. She looked into my tired eyes and said, do not urge me to leave you, for where you go I will go. Where you stay I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. That was the moment I realized sometimes God sends redemption wrapped in loyalty, and her name was Ruth. When we entered Bethlehem, the town was stirred. The women whispered, "Is this Naomi?" Their voices cut deep. "No," I said. "Do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara, for the Almighty has made my life bitter. I went away full, but came back empty." I said those words out of pain, but I didn't know yet that God was already preparing the harvest of restoration. We arrived at the beginning of the barley harvest, the season when things begin again. One morning, Ruth said, "Let me go to the field and glean behind anyone who might show me favor." I nodded. "Go, my daughter." She went, and as fate, no, as providence would have it, she stepped into the field of a man named Boaz, a relative of my late husband. Boaz noticed her. He asked, "Whose young woman is this?" And when he learned who she was, how she had cared for me, how she left her homeland to live among strangers, his heart was moved. He said, "Do not go to another field. Stay close to my workers. When you're thirsty, drink from what they draw." Ruth told me everything that night, and for the first time in years, I smiled. The man, I said, is a close relative of ours, one of our redeemers. Could it be? After all the loss, all the emptiness, God was weaving redemption right under our grief. I told Ruth, my daughter, should I not seek rest for you? Boaz will be winnowing barley tonight. So she went, dressed in humility and obedience. When Boaz lay down, she quietly uncovered his feet and lay there. At midnight he woke and was startled. "Who are you?" he asked. She answered, "I am Ruth. Spread your wings over your servant, for you are a redeemer." Boaz blessed her. He said, "You have shown kindness greater than the first, for you have not gone after younger men. Do not fear. I will do all that you ask." But there was another man, a closer redeemer. So Boaz promised to settle the matter in the morning. When Ruth returned home, she carried 6 measures of barley, a silent promise of provision and perhaps love. Would the other redeemer claim her, or would Boaz redeem her and change everything? The next morning, Boaz went to the town gate, the place of judgment and redemption. He called the nearer kinsmen and 10 elders as witnesses. "Naomi is selling a piece of land," Boaz said. "Will you redeem it?" The man replied, "I will." But then Boaz added, "When you buy the land, you also acquire Ruth the Moabite to carry on the name of the dead." The man hesitated. "I cannot redeem it. You redeem it yourself." And so, before the witnesses, he removed his sandal, sealing the deal. Boaz turned to the elders. "You are witnesses today. I have bought all that belonged to Elimelech, and I have taken Ruth to be my wife." And just like that, the story turned. Ruth bore a son. The women gathered around me and said, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you without a redeemer. May this child be a restorer of life." I held that little boy in my arms, Obed, the one who would become the grandfather of King David, and from his line would come the Redeemer of the world. I looked at Ruth, the foreigner, the faithful one, and saw how God had written redemption through her obedience. Once I thought my story ended in bitterness, but God was writing grace in invisible ink all along. If you've ever felt empty, forgotten, bitter, remember this: God's silence is not his absence. He's still weaving, still redeeming, still restoring, because in every famine, there's a harvest coming, and in every loss, grace finds a way home. If this story touched you, tell me in the comments, where have you seen God turn your bitterness into beauty? Subscribe for more biblical stories brought to life.